Okay, so Bitcoin.
It's been kind of wild ride, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Up, down, sideways. I mean, sometimes it feels like it's moving faster than the speed of light.
right.
And everyone, and I mean everyone, seems to have an opinion on it.
Yeah, that's true.
But today, on this deep dive,
Mm.
we're going beyond the hype.
Okay.
We're really diving deep into like Bitcoin's journey using this article we have, educational article, Bitcoin's performance and future potential. Have you
Really?
seen this one?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. And to help us navigate all this, we've got our expert in the house,
Happy to be here. Always happy to talk Bitcoin.
always. Now, this article, it features these insights from Alessio Rastani
Mm.
and Alexandra Overgaag.
Mm.
And these two, they really seem to have their fingers on the pulse of the crypto world.
They really do.
Yeah. And they don't shy away from Bitcoin's, wild price swings.
No.
But what really caught my eye was this period, it's like since March 2023, where things have kind of calmed down a bit.
Yep.
The article calls it a consolidation phase.
Right.
What's the significance of that?
Well, I mean, it's really all about context, right?
Okay.
So, see, before this calmer phase we're in now, Bitcoin took a pretty sharp drop
Mm-hmm.
down to 49K.
Ouch.
Yeah. And the article called it a capitulation event,
Okay.
which, might sound kind of scary.
Yeah.
But essentially, it just means a lot of investors, I mean, a lot of them, driven by, I guess, fear, decide to sell off their Bitcoin, often at a loss.
So it's like a mass exodus. Everyone's like, get me out of here.
It is. Yeah, it's like a panic, the sky is falling.
Get me out.
Yeah.
But if that happens, what does that mean?
Well, that's the thing.
Okay.
While it might seem kind of counterintuitive, that sky is falling moment,
Right.
that capitulation, it can actually be like a positive sign.
Really?
Yeah. Often what it really means is that most of those skittish sellers, the ones who are going to panic sell at the first sign of trouble, they're out of the market.
They're out of there.
They're gone.
Okay.
Which potentially makes way for a rebound.
So less the sky is falling, more like, okay, now we can actually see what's going to happen.
Exactly. It's like setting the stage,
Okay.
Alessio and Alexandra, they suggest this consolidation period, this more stable time for the price, it could actually be laying the groundwork for future gains.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And speaking of groundwork, the article highlights these two major forces that are influencing where Bitcoin's going.
Mm-hmm.
And those are something called quantitative easing.
Right.
And then also just the growing influence of institutional investors.
Yeah. Big ones.
Big ones. Now, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Quantitative easing,
It's a mouthful.
it sounds a little intimidating, honestly.
It does. Don't worry. It's really not that complicated.
Okay.
Think of it this way. When central banks, like, the Federal Reserve in the U.S., the Fed, when they want to stimulate the economy, sometimes they, inject money directly into it.
Okay.
And that's quantitative easing, or QE.
QE. Got it.
And the article specifically mentions that, both the U.S. and China, they've been engaging in this. And the thing is, QE, it can lead to inflation.
Right.
And some people, they see Bitcoin as a hedge, a protection against that inflation.
I see. So it's almost like this government action, well, probably well-intentioned, to boost the economy,
Yeah.
might actually be unintentionally fueling Bitcoin's rise.
Yeah. They're trying to help the economy over here, but then over there.
Bitcoin's like, hello?
Hello. Exactly. It's a popular theory for sure.
Yeah.
And it's something that Alessio and Alexandra have been following really closely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's really fascinating is that they even admit to being skeptical about Bitcoin in the beginning, even as it was growing.
Wow.
But we're seeing this other force in the market now, right?
Right.
It's the institutional investors.
Yeah. The big players.
The big dogs, hedge funds, pension funds,
Mhm.
the ones with all the money.
All the money.
The article suggests that they're starting to see Bitcoin as more than just a passing trend, which is really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's not just a fad to them.
Yeah.
And that's significant
Okay.
because, see, institutional investors, they bring a different mindset.
In what way?
They tend to have a much longer-term view than, like, your average individual investor.
Okay.
So they're not, checking the price every 5 seconds.
Not refreshing. Refreshing.
Exactly. They're less reactive to those short-term price swings,
Right.
which could mean, less volatility for Bitcoin overall.
Stabilize it a bit.
Stabilize it. Exactly.
Okay, so that sounds like it could be a game changer
Right.
in terms of Bitcoin, actually being seen as a more stable investment, not just this like gambling thing.
Exactly. This longer-term perspective, it's potentially huge for Bitcoin's image.
It makes it more attractive to those traditional investors who may have been a little hesitant before.
Right. Yeah. It's a little bit more legitimized in a way.
Exactly.
So, okay, we've got all these factors in play. We've got the institutional investors. We've got quantitative easing. We have the fact that we're kind of in this consolidation phase.
Right.
What's the outlook?
What's the outlook? The million-dollar question.
Yeah. Are we all going to be Bitcoin millionaires?
I wish I had a crystal ball.
Right.
Some people are throwing around that 100K figure, right?
Mm.
But both Alessio and Alexandra, they seem to be a little bit more grounded in their predictions.
Okay, so what's realistic?
Well, they seem to agree that Bitcoin could exceed 70K by the end of the year,
Okay.
but there's a but.
There's always a but.
There's always a but, right?
Yeah.
That's only if Bitcoin can hold above certain price levels.
Okay.
Traders call these support levels.
Support levels,
Or
right?
kind of like psychological barriers, right? Price points where historically buying interest has been strong enough to prevent, further decline.
So like a safety net of sorts.
It's a good way to put it, yeah, safety net.
Okay.
And Alexandra, she's even more optimistic. She's suggesting 80K to 85K might even be within reach this year.
Wow.
But both of them, they stress that it's important to remain cautious.
Okay.
So I think that's good advice for anyone.
So no Lambos yet.
Not just yet.
Okay.
But, it does sound like there's room for cautious optimism, especially with all these underlying forces at play.
Right, right. Which actually brings us to something that really got me thinking at the end of this article.
Okay.
They briefly mentioned this coming wave of ETFs,
Right.
or exchange-traded funds,
Mm-hmm.
for other cryptocurrencies.
It's like
Ethereum, Solana, big ones.
these ones, yeah.
I'm curious, how might that impact Bitcoin? Is this a case of a rising tide lifts all boats? Or is it going to be more of a competition for investor attention?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? It'll be really interesting to see how it all plays out. Will these other ETFs pull investors away from Bitcoin, or will it bring more attention to the whole crypto space? Ultimately benefiting Bitcoin as well? Nobody knows.
So much to consider.
Yeah.
It seems like the crypto world never stands still for long.
Never. That's part of what makes it so fascinating. It's constantly evolving.
And on that note, we'll leave you with that food for thought. Until next time, happy diving.